What is up, y'all? GoofyRhexxi here, and hope everybody is doing well. I wanted to make a video today and talk about the most valuable legendaries in Marvel Strike Force. What prompted me to make this video is that I get questions every now and again. Hey, what or who are the best legendaries for Dark Dimension? Who should I be bringing in? The reality is that there's a lot of legendaries. There's 14 legendaries in Marvel Strike Force, soon to be 15 legendaries with Rogue coming to MSF in 6.2. So who do you select? Who should you be sort of kind of putting your effort into if you're an earlier player, big game player? Like, who should you be targeting to try to unlock? What are the best characters there? So we're going to be talking about sort of who I think are the most valuable legendaries in Marvel Strike Force. We will kind of go and make a list from top to bottom. So 1 through 14, who I think are the best legendaries in MSF right now. I'll also talk about where I think Rogue may land on this list when she does come to MSF officially, right, in version 6.2. And then for the most valuable legendaries, those who I see as the top tier legendaries, I will talk about things like T4s and Iso 8s and things like that for them as well. But let's actually dive into the list here, guys. So the first or most important legendary, I think, in Marvel Strike Force, I think this one's probably obvious, right? It's going to be Morgan Le Fay. She is the most recent legendary that just joined MSF. I think she's probably one of your top options if you're thinking about Dark Dimension and those legendary nodes. She's incredibly important to Arena, right? I mean, her alongside the Darkhold team, they're amazing in Arena. Even if you want to do a hybrid team, Morgan Le Fay is still going to be there. Or even if you're not going to use any of the other Darkhold characters, Morgan Le Fay is still probably one of your top Arena options as well. So as a standalone, she's very good. So in my opinion, that makes her valuable within herself, just being sort of like a powerful legendary there that's essentially a mainstay for your Arena sort of matchups. But you can also use her in some other areas of the game as well. We talked about legendary nodes for Dark Dimension 5. You can also use her in War with the Darkhold team. She's plug and play in Doom Raid. So I've used her alongside and some of the new warriors. So I've used her with Deathpool, with Cloak and Dagger, and then also using her with Doctor Strange Heartless. I've also used her as well with the Eternals, taking out Dagger and Deathpool and using Cloak as well. So there've been a lot of value options that I've been able to find with Morgan Le Fay. I find that she's very plug and play, mainly because of her ult, right, which applies the ability block and trauma to controllers. She has a turn meter rewind with her special ability. She has the health steal on her basic. She can clear and copy positive effects. I mean, she's really a very good character, and you're definitely going to need her to unlock Apocalypse, right? So therefore, that for me makes her a standout as probably the most important legendary character on this team. In terms of on this list, in terms of the T4s, I think all of her T4s are pretty good. In terms of Iso, I run Skirmisher on her. This is mainly because of the mirror matches, because I want to make sure that I can land the ability block. Otherwise, the matchups sort of kind of go array whenever you don't lay the ability block on Morgan Le Fay initially. So therefore, I like to run Skirmisher on her. Outside of that, if you're using it for Dark Dimension, definitely want to go with her having the Striker Iso on her, because you definitely want to be able to take advantage of the bonus attack here with the health steal. So you definitely want to put Striker on her. But for your mirror matches, I definitely think Skirmisher is probably the best direction to go in. Now, the second legendary for me on this list is going to be Omega Red. Now, I know that his team is mainly a war team, but I'm still thinking that he's probably still one of your top options here for your Dark Dimension legendary nodes. And that's one of the reasons why I think he's here for me. Also, even outside of War, I still think that he's still pretty nice plug and play character. His special has the ability block on it. As a matter of fact, he has 2 ability blocks, right? His special has ability block outside of War. So does his ultimate as well, has ability block outside of War. He can also flip all positive effects on all enemies with his ultimate ability outside of War as well. But yes, of course, I do like the ability block on the trauma. It's something that he gets on turn 1. It's a low cooldown. It's 3 ability energy, which makes it something that can show that he can use in multiple matchups. Probably multiple times if it at least takes 4 turns, right? So therefore I do typically tend to like what Omega Red can do outside that. He actually does some pretty good damage as well. He's not a big damage dealer, but he does some pretty good damage with all of his abilities that he's able to land and all those negative effects that are impactful. So I do find that he's an incredibly important character as well. I like what he's able to do. He's a plug and play character for your Doom raid nodes, right? So if you're looking at your boss node for your Doom 2 raids, going up against Doom, being able to ability block and then trauma Doom, that's gonna allow you to be able to win some of these matchups. So definitely I think he's an important character, probably shows up as number 2 on this list for me. Now in terms of ISOs, well, let's talk T4s. I think T4s, passive and ultimate, are definitely recommended ones. I didn't do his special ability because it's only an additional damage increase. I don't think that that's really as important. I definitely did his basic because you're boosting the health steal. So he has a health steal on his basic as well, right? So you're boosting that health steal by 5%. Previously, before it was steal 5%, now it's steal 10% because of the T4. So I definitely think that you want to at least do the basic, the ultimate, and then of course that passive. The special is really kind of a luxury T4. Skirmisher, I have on him right now. He's a better striker. Hands down, he's a better striker. But I run into issues at times where I'm not able to land the ability block on Shang-Chi. So I just didn't want to have to deal with that coin flip. So I just went with Skirmisher. This enables me to be able to realistically land that ability block on him a little bit more reliably. And there are also these moments too where in the future where I think I may actually need to land the ability block on Misty. So therefore, and with those charges, I'm going to be a little bit concerned about that. Once I do start building up Omega Red and getting the G16, I do think that there's going to be that health issue, right, with Sabretooth not having enough health to take on the ability block. So therefore, I am kind of planning for that already. That's the reason why I have Skirmisher there. But for Dark Dimension, I'm definitely going to be using Striker on him for sure, without any sort of a question. All right, next legendary on this list for me is going to be Shuri. And I just find that she's always had a great kit. I think that she's always had a phenomenal kit with the defense up, with the special ability, being able to also, she goes on turn one, she goes first before everybody else goes on your team. She gets that defense up. She can also give ability energy. I just find that her kit has always been incredibly useful. And now that she has that stat boost increase, I think she's amazing. I mean, for me, she went from 350k health to 641k health. I don't know how I could not really like that, right? It's amazing that she's had that much of a stat boost, and I think that makes her sort of one of the better plug and play characters, especially with her kit rework, where now some of the stuff that she can also do it outside of raids, right? So previously, before, whenever there was an ally that dropped below 50%, she would apply these 3 deflect, but it was only effective in raids. But now you're getting this to be effective outside of raids as well. So I do think that Shuri kind of has gone up the list for me as being sort of one of the better legendaries in Marvel Strike Force, because she, like I said, she always had a really good kit. She just now has a better kit because of her stats. She's able to survive a little bit longer. So therefore, what she provides and the value that she gives to a team is incredibly valuable, which is one of the reasons why I think she probably goes up there as being one of my recommended options for your legendary nodes in Dark Dimension 5. I am actually going to be going that direction. So the characters I'm talking about right now, Morgan Le Fay, Omega Red, Shuri, those are the characters that I am going to be bringing into Dark Dimension 5. She is expensive. She is a 72-piece character, but for me, the race in Dark Dimension is done. I'm going with characters that I find are going to be more optimal for my roster, as opposed to going with who's cheap. What's the point of doing that? I'll rather just do it a way where I know that I'm bringing in the right character. In terms of T4s for me, I like her passive better now, because of like things like Cosmic Crucible, but also given the boosted max health too, I think is good. The ultimate, I T4 this because it gave me an additional, so she would do this ability, she would do this previously before, where she did this 3 times, heal the most injured ally for 500% health, plus 15% of this character's max health. Now when I T4'd it before, it does it 1 additional time, so now there's 4 additional times, so you can heal your entire team. And then yeah, special, I don't think you need, well, actually no, special is actually pretty good for Cosmic Crucible. Generated ability energy for 4 random Wakandan allies. It's good for CC. I don't think you need to do it if you're using or outside of Cosmic Crucible. I don't think you need it. Basic, no, I would not do the basic. I did the basic for the 2-turn heal block. That was for Dark Dimension 3. I definitely wouldn't do that. But Dark Dimension 3 was abysmal, man. Geez, what a time. In terms of ISO, I still run Fortifier on her. I probably could change it to healer, but I've had Fortifier on her since whenever her health was not good and I needed her to survive. Now she survives pretty well. So I could probably take the Fortifier off and then take get the benefit of throwing healer on her, where she'll actually be able to heal the rest of the team. Although for some of the nodes, there's heal block a lot, so it's not really as effective. So, but yeah, either way, I think healer is probably the better ISO on her. But yeah, next character on this list for me is Jubilee, and we're gonna start going through this pretty quickly here. So Jubilee for me is the next character that's on this list. Although she's fallen off a little bit, I still think that you need her for Doom raids. You definitely need her for Doom raids with the Axemen team, so she's still on this list. Doom raids is probably one of the most important game modes in Marvel Strike Force. That's how you're going to be able to get your teal gear raid orbs. So for me personally, I think that she's definitely still is on this list, although she's fallen off a little bit because of just how the difficulty of Doom raids and them not doing as well, but she's still your only option. So for that reason there, she's still a valuable character for me. Will she be replaced is a question that I'll get, when Rogue rolls around. I don't think so. I think you're going to probably use her with Rogue in these Doom raids. I don't think you're going to replace Jubilee from these Doom raids at all. You guys can see what I have for T4s on her. All T4s are good, and Skirmisher ISO is definitely the best ISO for Jubilee as well. Next on this list, I'm kind of going to talk about these two characters simultaneously for me, and that's Adam Warlock and that's Dr. Octopus. Dr. Octopus, once again, kind of for me is sort of like a character that's falling off a little bit. I'm not using him. I used to use him in Doom raids every day in the tech nodes now, but now so there's 4 main characters for tech Doom raid nodes right now for me for Doom 2. It's Shuri, it's Lady Deathstrike, who's amazing by the way, Doom, and then also Kestrel. And I used to use Doc Ock on the first and also the second node, but since I started doing these higher difficulties, I found that it's better to use Nebula in the first node, and I'm using Kate Bishop in the second node, and then for the last node, I'm using I do Doom 2.2 just so you guys know, and then for the last node I use Star-Lord T'Challa. I am not using Doc Ock anymore at all. So me personally, I think he's kind of fallen off. He's gonna probably still be a very good niche character. So I do think that you're still gonna find some aspects of him there that can be useful. Mainly the passive ability, right? Like if you're going into a matchup where you want to get the 10,000 resistance against offense down, that could be very helpful. The deflects and the speed up that he can apply to adjacent allies, I think is going to be pretty good. And then as a healer, he has a pretty large health pool, so that could be really helpful as well. So yeah, I mean, those are some things that you definitely could get in terms of value out of Dr. Octopus, but I think definitely make him still a valuable legendary character in MSF. But maybe he's fallen off a little bit, and maybe you want to make some alternative decisions in regards to bringing him into Dark Dimension, in any of your Dark Dimensions, whether it be DD5, DD4, whatever, right? You can kind of make the decision from there. Adam Warlock, I've never really been crazy fond of Adam Warlock. I think was a little bit of a letdown as a legendary character overall. You do need Jubilee in order to be able to unlock him as well. So Jubilee does have some another value for Jubilee as well, but I don't think he's a recommended character for Dark Dimension 5 specifically because of the Mystic gear, or even maybe 4 because of the Mystic gear, because there's so many other Mystic characters right now. But I still think that he's still one of your top tier legendaries and most valuable, at least mid tier, I would say, because of like Safeguard and with the Infinity Watch team, and looking at how well they can perform in Room 6 and in Room 3 for Cosmic Crucible. And I want to say this right now, Cosmic Crucible is probably going to be one of the most important nodes, game modes in Marvel Strike Force because of that teal gear, and probably going to be future maybe characters that will be let in there, and probably future T17s that are going to be in there, right? Because we know that they're going to continue to sort of ratchet this up as we move along. So for me personally, I do think Adam Warlock still is going to be a valuable legendary in MSF, even as he still has a pretty good kit, guys, that can be used in some other areas as well. I do think that as the game maybe continues to evolve, you'll probably see some of these legendary characters that maybe are older that might have a little bit more value as you sort of move on as just sort of plug and play characters. But yeah, CC is going to be very important. There's a lot of really good teal gear that you can get from there, although they really got to fix the the point system crap that's going on right now, but at the same time, those are kind of my thoughts where that is concerned. But for the sake of this video not being too long, I'll give you the rest of the characters and how I ranked them on this list. There's Black Bolt, who I had as number 7. I had Phoenix as number 8. You probably could say that Phoenix is the next, that's probably the more important than Black Bolt. I just don't like the characters that you need to use in order to be able to get her. Right, there's like Ronin, and then there's Loki, who they're removing from a campaign that's not going to be going to the raid store, right? Like the options, the villain mystic controls that you need in order to be able to unlock Phoenix kind of devalue her, in my opinion, a little bit. If you already have her, she's great, and I do think that you can find some solid value here for a character like her in Dark Dimension 5, or even your Dark Dimension nodes, mainly 3 and up. 2 and yeah, no, it's probably not going to be that great. But yeah, those are my concerns. It's just the fact that you have to farm some of the characters. I had Nick Fury. I'll show you the list that I had here, guys. It was so we had Morgan Le Fay 1, Omega Red 2, Shuri 3, Jubilee 4, Doc Ock 5. We had Adam Warlock listed at number 6, Black Bolt 7, Phoenix 8, Nick Fury I had at 9, mainly because Nick Fury is a character that you need to unlock Omega Red. So that's the reason why he's a little bit higher than some of the other legendaries that are down below here. Invisible Woman, because she has a flash event. So therefore I think that that makes her a little bit more important. Same thing with Star-Lord T'Challa. I keep on saying Star-Lord T'Challa, just Star-Lord. He also is a part of that same flash event as well. So a little bit more importance where that is concerned. Ebony Maw, it's unfortunate. He's just not really used anywhere. Yes, if you already built out Black Order, you can find some value for him there. But I think that if I'm considering earlier players who are going to be targeting a legendary like this, probably not as important. Magneto, Iron Man, who are we kidding, right? Where I think Rogue may land on this list is probably going to be right after Morgan. I think to a certain extent, outside of her individual game mode, she actually may be number 1 in my opinion in terms of just like usefulness and multifaceted kit. I do think that probably Rogue may be number 1 on this list. So if you were to ask me who to bring into Dark Dimension 5, or Dark Dimensions in general, I would say probably Morgan, Omega Red, Shuri. We could probably make a case here for Rogue. Well, not make a case, but she's definitely going to be a character if you're willing to wait on her. Rogue. And then I think Jubilee kind of falls off because of that mutant gear. Maybe you go Doc Ock. Maybe Black Bolt still falls into that list as well. We're still going to be deciphering that as we sort of kind of move on here. This was not about specifically who to bring into Dark Dimension, but it's just really about the most valuable legendaries in Marvel Strike Force. 2 separate videos. If you want to talk about a video where who do you bring into Dark Dimension 5 for legendary, we can sort of kind of make that video in the future there. But listen, appreciate you guys watching the video. Thank you so much. If you guys have any questions about anything, let me know. Leave it in the comments. Yeah, I really want to hear what you guys have to say in regards to these legendaries. Who would you probably move down the list? Who would you move up the list, etc.? I want to hear that from you guys as well. Listen, appreciate you guys watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Hit the notification bell so that you will know when the videos do go live. And until next time, guys, y'all be blessed. Y'all be safe.